Hi everyone, my name's Jacob, and today we'll be changing it up a bit and setting up a planted fish tank for a Betta. As a quick side note, I'd like to mention that this will be my first time keeping fish, or even setting up an aquarium, so it's by no means a tutorial. So if you see anything that I could do better, then please let me know. But if you do want to follow along, then feel free to do so. Starting off with the tank, I'll be using this which measures 40cm by 25cm by 28cm. This roughly translates to 25 litres, accounting for any hardscape, or 5.5 US gallons. As for the lighting, I'm using a budget All Pond Solutions LED light. As always, I'll link anything I use in the description below. I have a rough idea of what I want to achieve, so we can start right away. I dropped a few chunks of Sirius stone into the corner to start. I want them to create a visual barrier and separate area for plants. A few smaller detail stones were added around the base to fill the gaps. To further the scape, I'll be using spiderwood. 2 branches were added looping over to give the tank a jungle canopy feeling. This will also help the tank feel more seamless, with the stem plants looping from the back. I'll be adding the substrate next. To provide essential nutrients for the plants, I'll be using aqua soil. However, first steps have to be taken to prevent the substrate from spilling into the foreground. An easy fix is to stuff the gaps with cotton wool. It can be either disguised with plants later on, or simply removed. It was added with a paper sheet to reduce the amount of spillage. I vacuumed up any loose grains to keep the foreground clean. From the start, I've envisioned this tank having a natural off-white sand. I spread it out and instantly it brought it to life. Whilst this is nice, it doesn't look as natural as I would like, so I scattered some crushed up Sirius stone, trying to keep it closer to the largest pieces, as this is how it tends to fall in nature. Now for the plants. I've got quite a selection, so I'll go through them as and when they're used. To begin, I remove the rock wool from the roots of the Anubias. For this build, I'll be using both Anubias Barteri and Anubias Nana Petite. As they're both epiphytes, they can be easily attached to the hardscape and don't need planting directly into the substrate. This gives me the ability to attach them to the wood, and hopefully in the future the roots will hang down from the wood and look like vines. During this process, I continually sprayed down the plants to prevent them from drying out. Moving on, I'm adding the main focal point. To really fill the space, I'll be utilising 2 Java ferns. I permanently attach them using cyanoacrylate superglue. You may have noticed some moss attached to the wood. I skip this as I end up removing it later, as it looks slightly out of place. However, for those of you that are curious, I attached using fine green thread to keep it in place until it attaches itself. Limnophila sessiflora is added in the background. Its fine leaves nicely contrasts the broader Anubias and Java fern foliage. At this point, I filled the tank up with water to make the planting of stems much easier. Whilst filling it up, the wood began to float as I forgot to secure it down. To stop this, I added a large stone on the wood, which also had the effect of filling the void in the centre. With this all sorted, it's time for the stems. On a side, I'm using a small Nicro in-tank filter as well as an aquarium heater to keep the water at a suitable temperature for the Betta. In my eyes, the tank isn't complete without an inhabitant. It's time for the Betta. I let it acclimatise to the temperature before adding it. The flow here is quite fast, and I do end up reducing it to a much more suitable rate. I also dosed the tank with API Leaf Zone and Quick Start, and have been doing daily water changes for the first week, and then switching to bi-weekly changes after that. Floating plants are also added later on, so they will be in the final shots. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.